Fine.
All right,
Yeah,
you.
I'm good, mate. Thanks.
As you can see, there's nobody
Yeah,
here,
I can tell.
which is a bit. Oh, here we go. We get some now.
Yeah, you should get a few.
Yeah, because of you. Your celebrity status.
Don't be daft.
You all right anyway?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Busy at work and stuff.
Yes. You a hairdresser?
Yeah,
You need to do mine. I've got a white mop on my head at the moment.
yeah. It's just busy at the minute.
Yeah, but everyone trying to get their hair trimmed before Crimbo, I suppose.
Yeah, because I had COVID as well, didn't I? So,
Yeah.
I had like 10 days off at the start of December, so it's a bit of a nightmare.
So you got to play catch up then.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have your own shop or do you rent a chair
No, I
sort of
just
thing?
I work for Tony and Guy.
Oh yeah. So quite a big name.
Yeah, pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's good, mate. I just want to do a podcast for life, though.
Yeah. Well, you do quite a few of them now, don't you?
Yeah, quite a few, to be fair.
It seems you have to do them on your own lately.
Well, yeah, because half the team's gone on holiday.
You've been
I
abandoned.
have, yeah.
Yeah, I've still been listening to them anyway. So
Thanks, mate. I know I've got you. I know
that's
I've got your
all right.
support.
Well, I need something to listen to at work.
But it
So,
helps when Villa are doing good, though, doesn't it?
yeah,
It makes it a little bit better to talk about.
yeah, definitely. Well, I already heard your Burnley preview, but for those who haven't, maybe you can give us a preview now.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like it will be a difficult game now because Buendia had a bit of an ice pack on his foot, didn't he? Gerrard said Young's 50-50. So I think if those two aren't at it, I think it leaves us a little bit light, sort of out wide, doesn't it? Young's been playing on the left and you've got Buendia on the right. So there's positions up for grabs there, isn't there? So it's whether Watkins can sort of play another game, because obviously we've had games thick and fast, haven't we? So I thought he might have rotated this one and put Ings up top, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a bit of, just depends on how we are, isn't it? Because obviously with COVID as well, I know Gerrard mentioned that he'd like to rotate a little bit, and I think he's probably been forced not to because of some of the players that have got COVID. So Burnley haven't played for about 2 weeks, have they? So they're going into it pretty fresh. So I just hope we can sort of, be at it like we were against Norwich for tomorrow, and then just try and recover for Chelsea.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, like you said, with all the player rotation, obviously Sanson he would have played, wouldn't he, against Norwich? I would imagined.
Yeah,
And then I think if it was me, not that we're playing Football Manager right now, but if it was me, I would probably give Ings a go, I reckon.
yeah. I think he has obviously mentioned, Gerrard, that he's got a big part to play, this season. So yeah, I just think it's whether you want to put Watkins out wide on the left. Then I just we light up top as it is, aren't we? And I just feel like if we start playing both of those in most of the matches now around Christmas time, fatigue's going to come into it as well a little bit, isn't it? So, maybe I do think Watkins may need a rest at some point. But yeah, maybe Chukwuemeka might play out wide a little bit like what he did with Ramsey against Leicester. He put Ramsey on wide left, didn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, like, Carney was quite decent when he came on, and he set up that goal as well. So he's got a bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah. My only thing is like I mean I've just said I think he might play, but I just think the physicality of it tomorrow. Um, I'm just a bit wary of whether we can go with Chukwuemeka. They're a bit brutal, aren't they? Burnley in the way that they play, they're a bit like a battering ram, aren't they?
Yeah,
So,
we already know what they like to do to our players, don't we?
yeah, especially Ben Mee if he's playing.
Yeah. We're injuring our players.
Yeah, he's already killed off Wesley.
Yeah, exactly. Do you reckon we'll see him again?
Oh, definitely not. No, I think Wesley's Villa career's well and truly over. I think.
Yeah, I can't see him coming back. What about like it's like surprising. Like some players, you forget that they still are a player. Like can't even pronounce it. Fast whatever his name, Fasilev.
Vasilev.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. You forget that they're here, don't you? Sometimes.
yeah. It's like, is he still a Villa player or is he? Because
I
he,
think he went out. He went to the MLS, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. But he went,
Yeah.
he went. Yeah, he's at Inter Miami, isn't he? Now.
Yeah. To be fair, I think he's back with Villa, training with the first team. I think.
Do you reckon he'll get a look in or not?
No, I don't think so.
Nah, I reckon he's done for, do you?
Yeah.
Who else do you reckon's done for?
Um.
Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on Gilbert. I mean, Gerard's come out today, hasn't he, and said that we're looking at cover at left back and right back. So that we're definitely in the market. So I presume I mean, he's not seen Gilbert play, has he? But I'm guessing he doesn't think he's got a Villa future.
No, I mean like Gilbert was maybe good against like a crappy team like Barrow, but it's a bit different in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the level of football that the direction we're trying to go in. We're trying to get into Europe and compete with the top teams in the Premier League. I just don't think he's that type of player that's gonna cement our place in those positions.
Yeah, I got like a couple of mates who are Swindon ticket holders.
Yeah,
One of them really rates Kessler, so maybe he's an option. But my other mate, he reckons that he ain't ready for the Premier League. He reckons he's about he needs another 2 years or something.
yeah. To be fair, I think he's probably right. I think um, he's early on in his career of playing men's football, isn't he? He was playing, in the under-18s, winning that trophy last season. I think he does need to get that experience, doesn't he? So, playing men's football. So, where is he at? He's at Swindon. Is that League One or Two? So he's probably then got to sort of maybe,
League Two, I think.
yeah. So I mean, next season maybe he could have a pre-season at Villa and then maybe go to a Championship club and see how he develops there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously if he's looking to come back and like compete for Villa, he needs to play for a higher standard team, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. But I do think he's got the ability, and I think um, some Villa fans wouldn't like hearing about when selling players. But I think the way that Villa are going to go about their business in the future is we will end up probably selling Matty Cash. We will end up selling Matt Target. But what we will do is we'll have players that will just step up and come in and take those roles on. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, do you reckon that will happen in like players like Matty Cash
Yeah,
being sold?
definitely eventually, yeah, because as a club, we need to make money. We've the only player that we've made a profit on in probably the last 12 years is Jack Grealish for £100 million.
Yeah,
So it is a business. So we do need to make money and make a profit, and that's why we went out and we signed all those young kids, because we're hoping that 4, 5, 6 of them are going to be gems in which they can eventually play for Aston Villa, and certain players will move on and we'll already have their replacement ready made, a little bit like what Leicester do and what
yeah,
Chelsea do. They're continually making money. Even Chelsea, they've got all those players on their books, but half of them never even really make it in Chelsea's first team, but they always seem to sell them for about 25, 30 million pound.
yeah. That's true. I never thought of it like that, really.
Yeah, I just think some of these players that, yeah, they're amazing for Villa now, but you hate to see, don't you? You hate to be in that moment of like Grealish and selling your best players, but I just think it's a business.
Yeah, true. And I think like with Gerrard as well, down the line he'll want his own players, won't he? So
Yeah, I think we'll sign a central midfielder in Jan as well.
yeah, I reckon Kamara, I reckon.
Yeah, because he knows him from Rangers, doesn't he?
Yeah, it just seems a bit of one of those obvious ones, doesn't it?
Yeah, certain managers like players and they follow him, don't they? You look at like Bruce and Al Mohammadi,
Yeah,
Dino and Watkins. The certain players just follow a manager, don't they, for some reason?
Poppy, be quiet. Uh, yeah, I reckon I wouldn't be surprised if like Keenan Davies goes to bloody Norwich. No,
Yeah, I could see. I could see Al Ghazi going to Norwich.
yeah, same. Even though it's a bit of a weird one because it's not like Dino played him all the time, is it?
No, but I've just got a vibe.
What did you think they was absolute? Well, I gather by your podcast you didn't think much of Norwich.
No, I didn't. I just think, yeah, I think they lack a bit of quality. But I don't want to take anything away from how well we played, because I thought first half we were the best I've seen us playing, well, quite a long time, to be honest. The way we were passing, movement, shape of the team, with the ball, without the ball. I think under Gerrard it all looks really good, and we're just playing really well. And I think they're all on board, and they want to win now, don't they? It's like they're all sort of took a part of Gerrard's DNA, and it's instilled in the players now.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? How that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. Because I was at Dino's last game at Southampton, and God, we were awful. And looking back at that team compared to what we was watching against Norwich, it's like a completely different team.
Yeah, I did do a post actually, like with Target's post match interview against Southampton and then his post match interview against I think it was about 2 games ago maybe.
Yeah,
And just the difference in his tone of voice and everything. Because the game after Southampton, he was absolutely broken, weren't
yeah. To be fair, I think the players must have known after that game that he was going. I think for him to react like that after the game.
he? Yeah, they obviously really, even though they weren't showing on the pitch, they obviously really did respect him and admire him, sort of thing.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that they were still playing for him, but I just think it just it just wasn't working at all, was it? It just, whatever they tried was just what wasn't happening for whatever reason.
No, it's amazing how different our midfield is now.
I mean, yeah, I mean, every podcast I did, I've got Villa fans saying who should play midfield. Um, every single week, it was the weakest part of our team, and now it's probably the best part of our team.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I think the only struggle now is our front three, really.
Yeah. Back
Because
five picks itself, midfield three picks itself, and it's whether it's Watkins, Ings, Buendia, or Young on the left. It's just them options, really.
yeah, there's just too many injuries in it. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating at the minute with some of them having a bit of COVID as well. It's that we probably would have wanted to have rotated tomorrow some players, but we just can't, can we?
No, unless he's not gonna just put. Do you reckon he'll start like maybe Carney? Maybe. Do you reckon he'll actually start him now? Or will he?
I mean, what do you think? I think if Young's not playing, who starts on the left? It's either Watkins or
Carney?
yeah.
Well,
So
personally, I think Young needs a rest after the last.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
He looked. He weren't up to his. He weren't bad by no means, but he weren't like great either, was he?
yeah. Well, I mean, he's played a lot of games, hasn't he? He's been left back, central mid, left
I
mid.
know.
And we thought he was all coming in as like a utility player, but he's played virtually every game.
Yeah, I mean, if Martinez gets injured, I know where he's playing next.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, might as well. He's played everywhere else.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I've been impressed with him. To be fair.
Yeah, he's a great pro, isn't he? You can tell on the pitch he's vocal. He's like Gerrard's wingman on the pitch, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, I bet he loves it when he's getting in the referees' faces
Yeah, definitely.
and the players. He loves getting in the opposition's face, doesn't
Yeah,
he? bit of a stirrer, any I think.
yeah,
Wouldn't it be great if they had like little microphones while they were playing so you could hear what they were saying?
yeah. It would be good, to be fair.
Oh, the amount of abuse some of them must get.
Yeah.
So one of my co-hosts is on the thing. Should we get him on and you can?
Yeah.
I'll just invite him. Ivan, I've sent you an invitation. So tomorrow will be the first game for you since because you missed the last one, didn't you? Or did you go to the last one?
Yeah, I had to miss 2 with COVID.
Yeah, it's pretty crap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a nightmare.
It's like when I was going to the Everton game and I was in Birmingham as well. And I stayed the night in I actually stayed 2 nights in Birmingham. I was going to because I had work in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So I thought I might as well get a ticket while I'm there, sort of thing. I had it all sorted, and then I just felt rough on the Friday. So on the Saturday, I did a lateral flow, and it was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
So I had to basically. Well, I don't think you can do it now. Sell my ticket on Facebook or whatever.
No, you can't, can you? You have to just sell it back to the club.
Yeah, no, it's a bit. That's a bit wrong, I think. I can see why they do it, but it's a bit wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Ivan. Okay, you don't want us to talk.
Sorry, I'm here. My mic was playing up a little bit.
That's all right.
How are we doing?
Good, you all right, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Edging towards Christmas. Everything almost taken care of.
Nice one.
Yeah. Hoping tomorrow isn't the last game for a while.
No, I hope not as well. But I think Chelsea have got a bit of COVID as well now, haven't they? Lukaku and some of their players. So that game might be in doubt, mightn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I was sort of having a chat with my missus, I think probably yesterday. I was sort of theorising that the Premier League are probably reluctant to do a blanket fire break thing because you have to bear in mind there's a World Cup next year, and I think the season's going to be already out of whack from that. And I think they don't want there to be games overhanging that they still need to play later than they should finish in, I think it's May or whatever it is. So it's actually quite a bit of a nervy time in terms of having too many games left over to play and having a shorter break because the Premier League, I think, is starting earlier next season to incorporate the World Cup.
Yeah, you're right, to be fair. Because the World Cup's next, November, December, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's just a mess again, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it just like even the start of this season when like we had the teams in South America trying to catch up with all of their Copa America games and God knows whatever else, and it just seems like all fixtures, internationals, everything is just piling up, and we've not had the best run of it with injuries at the start of the season, players going off for internationals, and then we've still got people going off for internationals. Now Marva's out as well, which I'm absolutely devastated about. He's really come into his own this season, and I just kind of knew when they said he had an injury, it was going to be a lengthy one. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. I don't know what the league.
Well, I think this is the worst time of year for it to happen to as well because there's so many games in December and the start of New Year, isn't there?
Yeah, that's it.
If this was sort of happening like I don't know in September or November, where you're playing like once a week,
yeah, you don't mind so much.
It's not as bad, is it? But
No.
we've had a game Tuesday, we've got one Saturday, we've got another one Saturday, then you've got is it like New Year's Day? You've got the FA Cup, so it's just because there's so many games, and it's just not good for the clubs either because there's no recovery for the players, and we just can't rotate, can we?
Yeah, it's kind of quite concerning as well because it's probably not as bad when you've got like a larger squad, but I think we've got probably, I would say, erring on the sort of side of a smaller squad. And it just seems like this whole season so far, we've just not been able to shake off thigh injuries and God knows whatever else. And now we've got COVID again, and it's just like, when is it ever going to stop? You expect like one or two players to be out injured or something to happen, but it's just relentless.
Yeah, I think we're not like I'd say attacking wise, we're nearly close to bare bones, aren't we? At times because we've got no options. So Watkins has got to play, Ings has sort of got to play. Buendia, we need him to play. Bailey's out, so there's not really much room to move players around and give them a rest, really. Midfield-wise as well, especially. Now you've got Nakamura out, Sanson out.
Yeah, we still got Traore out as well, who everyone seems to have forgotten about. And it's like, when does it stop? And then when you get a few back, then something else comes up and it's just like, this is just non-stop.
Yeah. I can't. I think we've had one game, I think it was the Everton game week, where every player that we got was fit and available. Yeah, and we haven't had that since.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing in training, but the number of like thigh injuries that come up from training is just a bit of a weird one for me. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think maybe Bailey came back a bit too quickly, and and now we're suffering the repercussions to that.
I think it's a lot of them as well didn't really have a full pre-season, did they?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we didn't get all of our business done quite early, so we were getting players quite late in the window, and it was always going to be a slog trying to get everybody to gel in the first place. But then it's just been injuries galore, and then internationals galore, and the one thing that I actually don't understand that that we didn't sort of look at in the summer is our goalkeeper as well, because when you're relying on Martinez to fly to play some game for Argentina and then sort of fly back to play for us again, that makes it sound like you don't have enough adequate cover to lose him for a game here or there. Instead, you want him to take ridiculous flights to stop over somewhere, isolate, and then come back. And I just feel like maybe we should have looked at having a better backup keeper, because I don't think Steer is really the one. And I'm just worried that if Martinez gets injured, that's a huge derailing to our hopes for this season. So I'm hoping there's like a backup plan for that, because it doesn't seem to be very much going on there.
Yeah, I think Lang did brilliant getting Martinez, because our keeper recruitment the last couple of times has been shocking, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They're probably reluctant to try and go to sign another one after Kalinic and all that business. Nyland.
Yeah, but it's just, you just know we're riding our luck and something's going to happen. And, especially if we're going to hope to have a strong finish at the end of the season.
Yeah.
If we lost our keeper at that point, it would just be like, why didn't we? And it feels like to me that the last couple of seasons, we've kind of always gone in a little bit light in an area. I think there was one season, maybe like our first or second season back, we went in and we didn't have any forwards apart from, I think it was Wesley and no one else really. And then that forced us to have to get Samatta, which just didn't work. Lastminute.com.
Yeah.
And I think we've done it with goalkeepers now, and the CDM role, which we kind of covered, but we still now could do with having that extra one. So it's just interesting to see what they're going to do in terms of recruitment in January, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see a central midfielder coming in Jan, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Marva's done a really, really great job, but again, an injury. Now we have a question mark over the area. And yeah, I just think it would be great. It would be good to just have an extra out and out CDM in there, who is Marva's great, and I'm his biggest champion, and I'm so happy that he's actually shone this season. I think Smith didn't give him much of a run, didn't give him much of a chance, but I think we need somebody who's a bit of a bulldog, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what Gerrard actually goes for in the window, and where he does see our weaknesses at the minute as well.
Yeah, because I think we were talking a few weeks back, and the question came up about, maybe it was me asking about where do people think they could see, what do they think we're going to go for in the transfer window? And it's really hard to tell a few games ago, because we were kind of all right and it was kind of difficult, but I sort of speculated that some players like maybe El Ghazi, possibly Trez would go. There's the Wesley situation, which you talked about as well. I think Connor Hurahan is still on the books. So there are still a few players who need to be shipped out and moved on, and it'll be interesting to see if they will try and get something over the line for some of these players in order to free up some spaces to get some new blood in. Yeah,
I think that the one area which is crucial to us is left back and right back. With how far forward they get on. I think I like Target, but I just think if you compare him to what Cash does on the opposite side, it is a little bit imbalanced to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think also like competition for those two spaces is not going to be a bad thing, because we had that spell where Target wasn't doing that great for a few games before Dino got sacked. And I think he felt it, but it would have been nice if we had take him out. He needs to be benched for a couple of games, and put someone else in to pick up the slack a little bit. And also, again, we've got to worry about injuries again. And if Target goes out or if Cash goes out, who's a real viable, solution to keep in for a few games or whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how Gerrard goes about it in January. But yeah, it's quite an interesting time really with COVID and everything else. It's hard to read at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you think of the Norwich team?
Yeah.
They had one player to me who stood out, and I thought I kind of really like him. But
Brandon Williams.
Nope.
No. Oh, I thought he was their best player.
Do you reckon? I like the Polish winger, the left winger.
He was quite good.
Placheta, is it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of liked him. I thought he looked good, but then it was really weird because obviously Smith took Cantwell off and then took him off, and I was like, all right, you obviously don't want to get back in the game.
Yeah.
So you was on about left back and right backs. Is there any players you have in mind, like Reece James? Maybe?
I wish.
Or what players do you think we could actually get for those positions? It's quite hard.
I mean, some are saying Lucas Digne from Everton. Apparently they're putting him on the transfer market, but I don't. I think they've got to buy into what we are, and the work rate which is going to have to go into it. So to be fair, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, to be fair, on the left back position, who would come in.
There's someone requested. Should we let him come on?
Yeah.
I'll just accept them. Go on then, let's listen to it.
Rico Henry. If you want someone who's going to put the same output on the left-hand side as Cash does on the right-hand side, Rico Henry's the man.
That's quite a good shout.
Yeah, he's a good shout, to be fair.
He's industrious. He's very quick. He's local, born and bred as well, from Warsaw. So why wouldn't he want to come home?
Yeah,
he has been linked with us quite a lot, hasn't he?
I think Dean Smith was a massive fan of him because he brought him from Warsaw. Like, he brought him to Warsaw and then brought him to Brentford as well. But I think that's an excellent shout, me, especially if you're looking for someone who isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it is a good shout, to be fair.
I mean, when you look at all the other left backs, like across the world football at the moment, they've either got great attacking intent but very bad defensively, or they're great defensively but bad going forward.
I think he's got a bit of both, hasn't he?
Rico Henry, definitely.
Yeah. He's definitely
such a hard worker, but you have to be in the Thomas Frank team, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good shout. I like that one. What about the other side of the partner?
Say that again, sorry.
What about the right back?
Well, someone to compete with Cat.
Matty Cat, yeah.
I think we've got a ready-made one already in our team. I think Frederick Gilbert should have stayed. He's had 2 cracking seasons in France, he has. And then we've got Kane Kessler-Hayden, who's just absolutely ripping it up at Swindon.
Yeah, we was on about him earlier. I was saying, look, a couple of my mates, Swindon Town, season ticket holders, and yeah, they rate him, but one of them reckons he still ain't ready for the
Oh, it's
Premier
gonna be
League. He
raw, but
reckons.
look at Max Aarons at Norwich. He was touted as being the next biggest right back in English football, but for some reason nobody takes the punt on him anywhere else, and that tells me that the stats don't match up with him.
Yeah, fair shout. Yeah, he's a decent player though.
Yeah, he's decent, but there's got to be something about him where the bigger clubs than Norwich just don't see the gem in him.
Yeah,
CDM's an
I could
interesting one
see it.
because there's so many good CDMs worldwide that you could get cheap as well. But it's who fits into the Gerrard system and who's going to do it like how Gerrard wants him to do it.
Oh, we gotta bring back Idrissa Gueye, haven't we?
Well, that's a really good shout because you can't get much better than Idrissa Gueye. He's baby Kante, isn't he?
Yeah. I did. It was good when we had him. To be fair.
See me, I was looking at that Glenn Kamara and I've watched a few of his highlights. And what I like about him is he's a Gerrard player out and out. You can see he goes forward, he goes back. He's hard working. You never see him catch caught off foot. He's always on his toes. And I like a player like that. I like a player who's really industrious in the midfield. Like I grew up, right? And when I was growing up, all of my footballing idols played a CDM role. It was Yaya Toure, Patrick Vieira, Steven Gerrard to a degree. And that's who I think that Villa could cry out with, like for somebody of that kind of nature. Maybe even like a young lad with something to prove. Look at that Tchouaméni. I'd love to take a punt on Tchouaméni.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. He's quite a good player. I like him.
And I reckon you could get him for less than 25 million at this moment in time.
Yeah, true. Well, with Glenn Kamara, I mean, he's still only 26, and so he's still got like plenty of time, plenty of give.
But can he do it in the Premier League? Because we've seen a lot of players come over from Scottish football and just really struggle to come to terms with how aggressive like English football is.
I don't know. I mean, like John McGinney's done brilliant, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's got the bunda to endo bundas. I reckon he could knock somebody out with his arse cheek. I mean, look at Wilfred Zaha. He had a little argument with John McGinney, didn't he?
Nah, yeah, but he's a knob anyway.
So, guys, where does everybody realistically think we can finish this season? Saying that we bought nobody now and we just kept this team.
I'm sticking with what I said at the beginning of the season, which was, and I'm saying it even more now with how we've been playing. And I still think we'll finish 6th in the league.
Do you reckon we could make a crazy little finish for a top 5 spot?
I don't know about top 5, but I reckon 6 is realistic.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at all the other teams, right? And apart from Liverpool and Man City, every team can be had. Every single team. Chelsea can be had. Tottenham can. Well, everybody knows Tottenham can be had, unless Harry Kane starts turning into a micro monster again. Then I just don't see them doing very well. Arsenal, they have stages of the season where they look like they could be back to their old selves, and then they have long periods of the season where they just look absolutely poor.
Yeah, that's true.
Leicester falling this season as well. West Ham, it finally looks like their European runs actually tying their players out, and their performances are starting to slip as well. Everton, who would usually be in and around that slot, are nowhere near. And I think it's prime for Villa. I think if you can make the right signings in January, 2 or 3 players, and they're coming in January, and settle quickly, I think we can do untold things. And one of the other things I want to mention before I shut up, right? Because I'm a bit of a talker.
You and Ivan will get along then.
Basically, the thing for me is what really confuses me is Ollie Watkins a striker or is he a left winger? Because I've never known a striker who can score goals but just doesn't look natural doing it.
I get what you're saying. Like, you mean in comparison to like Ings or whatever?
Not even in comparison to Ings. I look at Ollie Watkins and I just don't see a striker. I see a left winger. He's somebody who feels uncomfortable being a striker.
Yeah, I don't know. I see that a little bit differently. I think part of the issue with Watkins is he's been asked to do quite a lot, in all fairness.
I get that.
Often he's not in the places where a natural centre forward would be because he's too busy creating the chance, yet alone trying to put the chance away.
Yeah.
And he gets, sometimes he's creating the chance and he doesn't have the support around him. So he ends up having to do far too much work and he's not in the places he should be. I do think there is an element of the truth in what you're saying, in the sense that when he does get into those positions, he doesn't look comfortable. But I think it's probably because he's just playing everywhere at the minute, that he's not focused on what a traditional centre forward would do.
Because like I've been watching him since last season, and the one thing that I notice he does a lot is he takes too many touches in the box. Way too. Like there's times where he looks like one or two touches, gets himself into the space, and then he could finish it because he's got a great shot on him, powerful shot as well. But I always feel like he just takes that extra touch when he doesn't need to. Like he feels like he needs to set himself further. Whereas
I think that's just an element of confidence, because I think if you look at this season, when he first started playing for us, he came in with so much confidence and he was able to just put these things away. And I think he had a bit of a spell where he wasn't quite putting them away. And I think he was over eager to try and start getting those goals back. And I think that probably affected his game.
Do you think like the Liverpool and the Arsenal games put pressure on him because he scored quite a lot of goals against two big teams in a short space of time?
Quite possibly. Whether that's pressure on his own pressure, internal pressure, or just
because he was first to admit in his interview, weren't he, that he always he was his worst critic and he put pressure on himself.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the issue with him, because I think when I've looked at him earlier this season, when he wasn't particularly scoring much, it looked like he was desperate to score. And just when you get into that point of being desperate to score, you just start making the wrong decisions a little bit. You don't relax and sort of take it naturally. You're kind of taking that extra touch because you want to line it up right. And it's like, no, just knock it, mate. Just do it first touch. If it doesn't go in, it's fine. But I think he's kind of maybe trying to get that balance back a little bit. But yeah, I do see where you're coming from. And I do agree there is an element of he doesn't quite look comfortable when he's got those chances, which he should be sort of just going for. But yeah.
And then...
sorry, guys.
No, carry on.
Devil's advocate here, just from an Aussie point of view, would it be worth dangling Watkins out and see what we can get on the market for him if we are looking to be a bigger and better club? I'm just asking the question, not saying it should be the case.
I don't think we've got enough in our kit bag to be thinking about that yet. I mean, we haven't got Ings firing on all cylinders yet. We don't, Ollie's doing great in terms of the pressing game. I think he's sort of getting back to where he could be, but he's not there yet. I don't think we're in a position to think about that. But, I mean, look, the reality of it is football isn't a sentimental thing. If we think we can get somebody who's an upgrade and we can move somebody on, then I'm all for it at the end of the day. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there because I think he's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's actually the name on my jersey. I had the choice of Grealish and Watkins, and thank goodness I took Watkins. But I never hear any of that talk. And I would just like us, if we're going to be the club we all know we can be, we do have to be ruthless. And if we can get, 45 million or 50 million for him, like I'm just saying, I think it'd be worth at least exploring. I don't want him to go, but the exploration I think needs to be talked about.
Yeah, but I think it's that balance of we're a club that's in transition, right? And we don't want to be seen as that club who has, who will sell their best players if the price is right because we're trying to build something. But at the same point in time, yes, there is an element of, actually, if we've got, an Archer, could we look at selling? I don't know, selling off an Ings and if Archer breaks into the team, etc., then there's that an option. So I think it's a bit of a balance. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think a season or two more, if we've got the squad that's capable of keeping us, challenging, pushing for those sort of places, 6th, 7th, that kind of level, then yeah, maybe we should be looking at stuff like that. And obviously, as mentioned earlier as well, Villa are a club who historically lose money on players. We'll spend big on them. By the time we move them on, we get absolutely nothing for them. We've got to break that as well. We need to be making some money off of the players we get. So I think it's a bit of a balancing act from my perspective.
Though getting 15 mil for Wesley would be an absolute steal on our part.
Yeah, I think so, because on all honesty,
I didn't think we'd get anywhere near that.
So what was that?
I didn't think we'd get anywhere near that. I thought we'd get maximum 5 million and just cut it as a loss and just draw it off.
Yeah, I thought 5 to 7 million for him would be a lucky day for us. But if they're willing to sell him for 15, then we should.
I mean, I thought 5-7 million was a reasonable fee, but them Brazilians must have more money to spend than we think they've got.
Yeah, look, it's not anyone's fault at the end of the day. He had a horrific injury, which, and it was a tough ask for anybody to come back from that. Never really bedded into the Premier League, etc. But the sentimentality of it has got to go. And it's not working, so let's just...
Quite a lot of run.
Yeah, if they're offering 15 million, it shouldn't even be a discussion. Let him out of his contract early if need be, or whatever it needs to happen. I don't care.
Do you know what I'd love for Villa to do? I'd love for Villa to go for Alexander Isak.
Yeah, I could see that. But...
And the thing is, because obviously he's not a Champions League club, not playing Champions League or Europa League football. He's a real Sociedad. He's a fish in a small pond. And I think that coming to someone like Villa would match his ambition because the owners can sell the dream to him as well.
Yeah, I think
if there's one thing that we've all learned over the last 2 seasons, Johan Lang's smile achieves a lot.
Yeah, but we've got better than that now. We've got the smile and we've got Gerrard.
I mean, Gerrard, right? I actually honestly believe that Gerrard is an elite manager in waiting.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. I think, look, the reality of it is...
There's something else. There's something about him where he just knows automatically when something's not going right to his system, and he knows what to change instinctively.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't overly enamoured when I heard his name attached to the job, but I'm one for admitting when I was wrong. And you know what? I didn't care about how he talks in the press conferences. I didn't care about all of that stuff. I wanted to see what happens on the pitch. And from that basis purely alone, no different players, but got players putting in a steely performance. We're not going to play exciting, attractive football just now, but we've got determination. Our heads don't dip when we go goal down. Whenever we concede, teams don't go in the lead by that much against us anymore. And, we still look like we can get something out of games. And it's the same set of players. So that's got to be down to testament to, the
one thing that I did notice from what the Villa players were saying was that his winning mentality that he's got just rubs off on everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think my criticism of Dean Smith was that he just didn't seem to be able to get things out of the players. And he'd say it in interviews going, I didn't set them up to play like that, but you're the manager. You've got to stop them from doing that. And all you do is stand there for 90 minutes and don't say very much.
I mean, I was a massive fan of Dean Smith. Like, my family knew Dean Smith from when we were younger. Like, my dad and Dean Smith went to the same school. They went to Dartmouth together.
Wow, cool.
And, like, I remember my dad always used to say to me about Dean Smith, he says he's the guy that will go to a club and get you relegated. And then when he took that Walsall job, it's like that changed for him.
Yeah.
And I do see the value in him as a manager. But the thing for me is he a Premier League manager? And that, for me, that was where he always missed out, was the fact that I don't personally believe that he was a Premier League manager.
No, I think, I mean, he was... I think rumour has
it. Do you think as well that, like, you know, when with John Terry and Richard O'Kelly, that they were the real gel behind the scenes?
I think he needed them, and when they were gone, that severely weakened his position. I don't think Shakespeare was like the right person to fill in the gaps that they were filling. And
Shakespeare's always been known as a bit of a yes man, though, hasn't he? Like, he's gone to clubs and he's been given a directive and he just follows it to the letter.
Yeah, kind of. I think, I think there's an element of that. To be honest, personally, I think, however it came about that Terry and O'Kelly left, I think that severely weakened Smith's position. And to be honest, I think Dean Smith didn't have the profile that Purslow wanted. Because basically, I think
you know what it came down to as well? I think there wasn't so much John Terry, because everybody knew that he was going to leave at some point.
Yeah.
But I think with Richard O'Kelly, because he'd gone with him through every club, from when they tried to demote him to the youth team, I think that he looked on that as a personal affront.
Slap in the face.
Like a big slap in the face for 100%.
Yeah, I think
what you guys touched on before about Gerrard is he is going to bring in players who might have been 50-50 coming to Villa, and they go, oh, I can play under Stevie G. I think, I don't know if that's being undersold, but everything I'm seeing from Australia are guys who don't really know Villa like we do. They're like, oh, you got Steven Gerrard. And it's making a difference for the profile in America and Australia.
I've seen that already. I've got a mate who's a Liverpool fan, and he's hated Villa for as long as I could remember. And every Saturday when the football's on, like, he ribs Villa like galore. But as soon as Stevie G walked through the door, I couldn't believe the change in the guy. Like, it's mad. And we're being talked about a lot more as well. If you notice, we're being mentioned a lot more in the media. I think pundits are starting to take a lot notice of Villa a little bit more as well. I love seeing pundits like Danny Murphy just absolutely the smug, just coming clean off the face. I love stuff like that. Absolutely.
I think we give Danny Murphy too much airtime, to be honest. I think we should all just scrub him. Like, he's just such a waste of our time and energy. But look, Stevie G, I'm just giving an international perspective. He's so well known and loved everywhere. And I can tell you now in Australia, the conversations about Villa have gone tenfold. So even that small effect, Villa shirts are starting to come back in shops here. So we didn't have that for about a decade, I can promise you.
Yeah, I think the reality is it was a strategic move. And when it got to a point where they had to look at the possibility of recruiting a new manager, I think that kind of tipped it over the edge a little bit, because going back to when the stupid shithousery with Smith Rowe and Lord Prowse was going on, for me, I think that was all half-hearted. There was never serious intent in there, apart from one thing, which is to say that those players wouldn't come to our club because we don't have the right profile for those types of players.
You feel like that them bids were like a bit of a dip your toe in the water and see if it's hot kind of thing?
I just think it was more of a case of highlighting the fact that when we can't attract those kind of players. I don't think, if we had a Gerrard in charge and then we were starting to dip our foot in, I think people would really then consider it. But we had Dean Smith and we weren't really, you can see our profile is raised just by having Gerrard at the club. people are talking about us a lot more. People are taking note of our results a lot more. They can see how we're improving. So I think...
Do you know what's mad as well, what I've heard as well? You know, his assistant, Michael Beale?
Yeah.
I've heard he's very, very highly rated in the world of football.
I think that's fair. And I think it's there to be seen, to be honest.
Because apparently he takes a lot of the day-to-day stuff as well. Like Gerrard, lays his directive and sits back and watches. He gets involved, but apparently all the training sessions are put together by Michael Beale.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, I think part of the reason why the Gerrard thing has worked is that he's been allowed to bring his whole team with him, pretty much from Rangers, and we've got so many of his key personnel that they know how to work with him, and I think that's a big plus. If it was just Gerrard coming in and trying to work with the current infrastructure, it would have just been. I don't think it would have had the desired impact.
So, Ivan, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think, right, that this whole Gerrard situation is going to be, in the long run, more beneficial for Villa, or is it going to be more beneficial for Gerrard?
I think if it goes well, it'll be exactly 50-50. I said this earlier about when he was appointed, one of the things that I did say was that everyone's talking about it being a stepping stone for Gerrard to get to Liverpool, but I'm actually saying it's also a stepping stone for us to get to the next level of managers that we want to try and get. So if this works, it's a 50-50. We're both using each other. It's a symbiotic relationship. If he does well, he gets put earmarked for the Liverpool job. There's nothing wrong with that. He's not going to take it tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But for us as well, we're trying to raise our profile because we're just known as Villa. Now we're actually trying to build something, a sustainable football club, not spending out of its means to try and buy its way up the league, but also, to have a style of play, to have an ethos about us, everything. So we're a project. And I think
minimum for Villa, because of I don't know how old you yourself is, Ivan, but I'm 33. So when I grew up watching Villa, we were always a good team.
Yeah, I think I'm 42, so my days of back, my real big memories are of the teams of the 90s. We really were we had such great players back then, and we were,
and consistently as well.
Yeah, I think we didn't have the big superstar names, but we always had a decent squad.
I think one thing that you could always guarantee with a Villa squad was it was very aggressive and combative back then.
Yeah, and we had goals coming from all sorts of
players. Do you remember the defensive partnership of Alpay and Olof Melberg?
Yes.
What a partnership that was, in my opinion.
Yeah, Melberg.
Alpay wasn't a great defender. He was nowhere near a world beater, but them two together, they just had something special.
Yeah, and I think we've certainly had some really great players in our squads, but over the years, and I think from the time of O'Neill leaving and Randy Lerner taking over, we were just on the downward trajectory, and I think we're now trying to build ourselves back to where we were and surpass that. And I think ultimately, it's an overall kind of project, and I think all parts have to fit with it. And looking in hindsight, Dean Smith was only ever going to be a temporary manager for us, because at the end of the day, if we want to be challenging to get into those European places, we need a certain manager. We need to be able to say we have a style of play. We need to have an ethos about the kind of players we want. That kind of thing.
Smith would have gone sooner if he wasn't a Villa fan.
No, because at the end of the day, he did make progress. In all fairness to him, he did make progress.
I do feel that, from from the end of last season, that I reckon they considered it then, but because everybody was so on his side, you rarely find that at a football club. You go to Brighton, and Brighton have been on this wonderful run for ages, and a couple of bad results, and the fans are going Potter out.
Yeah, look, it's very rare that you get a manager who's actually a fan of the club, that managing that club. It is very rare, and he took us on that.
If you was Villa owner, would you do it again? Hire a fan, like if he was obviously a professional manager.
In all honesty, it depends on if he's right for the club, and that's the way to look at it. Is if he was right for the club at the time, if he's a fan, great. If he's not a fan, but he's right for the club, doesn't matter. It's nice if he's a fan. That's great, but being a fan doesn't mean much. I mean, ask Jack Grealish that. It doesn't mean much at the end of the day.
How much of a fan can you really be if you don't know when the club was formed, especially since it had been on the back of your shirt for about 5 years?
Yeah, well,
them sort of things. I mean, I question all them sort of things. Like, even if my mates say to me anything in life, and if I can poke a hole in it, I'm that guy. I'm gonna poke the hole. And the thing for me is,
I think you put an argument forward for why Gerrard may stay at Villa for many, many years, guys, because what does he gain from going to Liverpool other than if he doesn't succeed Champions League, if he doesn't succeed Premier League, he's going to be considered a failure, right? Not as a player, but as a gaffer. If he can be at Villa for 5 to 10 years and see us make Europe, then what's to say he doesn't go, well, this is going to be my legacy. I'm going to be a Villa legend as a manager. I was a Liverpool legend as a player. And I think we need to start thinking that way. And the gaffer might be. We don't know.
I mean, as a manager for Villa, you only have to win 5 trophies.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we don't know his insight. He might say, yeah, well, I was a Liverpool player and a legend, but I want to build my own dreams. And seeing Villa come up and be one of the top clubs, which is very much achievable in the next 5 to 10 years, then why can't that be his legacy instead of us saying, oh, he's going to go to Liverpool? He may never go to Liverpool. Hopefully, he's so good with us, he doesn't even think about Liverpool.
You know what? I hope that as well, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I think ultimately football is a results-based business. As long as we can keep the trajectory going, and if he's truly happy in what he's doing and feels like he's comfortable and he's got free reign to basically run the club as he sees fit, and it's working for us. If he stays for 5 years, great. If he wants to stay for longer, even better. That's great.
That's the thing, your managerial career is always going to be twice as long as your playing career. So, and everybody suggests that it's only just round the corner. Round the corner in terms of a manager might be 15 years down the line.
Mm. Yeah, and I think
if you're in the game as long as Roy Hodgson, then it could easily be 15 years down the line. Dip your feet out elsewhere. If you can, I mean, like I said, as a Villa manager, all you have to do is pick up 5 trophies. If you pick up 5 trophies in your single tenure as manager at Villa, that puts you on par with the most successful manager of Aston Villa.
Yeah.
5
do
that.
Say that again, sorry, mate.
5 trophies. When did the manager last do that? A Villa manager.
We're talking in the 50s,
yeah, exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're going to become
nice
a Villa legend, you don't have to do a lot to become a Villa legend. If you win 5 trophies, you'll be a modern day Villa legend because nobody else has replicated what you've done. Yes, people have taken us to finals. Tim Sherwood took us to a final. Yes, it wasn't all of his own doing. And we've been to finals since then, and we've been to finals before that. But in recent modern times, historically, we've been a very poor finalist side.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't remember what if anyone can remember themselves. When did we last win the FA Cup?
1956.
Exactly. So not in my lifetime.
The Carling Cup or Carabao Cup would have been 1996. Yeah,
I remember the Carling Cup. I was 10 when we won the Carling
Cup.
We
won
the
Toto Cup. I wouldn't personally throw that in there. That's an embarrassment cup for me.
Do you reckon?
That was like that friendly trophy we got when we had John Terry.
It was only an embarrassing cup when Blues won it. It's all right if we win it.
I know, if Blues even step foot on a field, it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, that's true.
Does anybody play FIFA? Can you believe that Birmingham City have been given 2 special cards on FIFA this year?
Pardon, sorry, what was that?
Do you play FIFA?
Yeah, and I think it's crap, to be fair.
Oh, mate, it's one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life.
I got FIFA 22 and I think it's pants.
I much preferred FIFA 21. It was a better game.
I think I much preferred probably...
Zebe's been given a special card today as well. He's been given an 85 win power wild card. I can't get it from the team because it's like 300k. And me,
I'm a
part-time player.
I never use my money on there.
I would never put money on FIFA. I don't believe in putting money in EA's pocket for them to throw me team names that don't make no sense.
Well, at least we won't be seeing FIFA again.
That's going to have major ramifications, for players and their sponsorship deal.
Yeah, I know, but at least we might get a decent football game. Because let's be honest,
right? You won't get a decent football game for about 10 years.
FIFA.
The 1990s version where the names were incorrect because they couldn't license them. Come on, bring back that rivalry. PlayStation 1 and 2.
Oh, no, I hated that place.
West Midlands Village.
West Midlands Village, I don't even think there's a village in the West Midlands.
West Midlands Village versus Manchester Red.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave you guys. I've got my son going to swimming. My name's Paul. I run Australian Villa. I love your work, guys, and I'd love to come back on here when you have your spaces. So I'll speak to you soon, and I'll see you at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Thanks for coming on. Mate.
Thanks for coming on, Paul.
Take it easy.
Love you all. See you guys.
Take care, mate.
Up the Villa, Paul.
Always up the Villa.
What we need to do, we need to get something like as big as like AVTV, because you see them Arsenal fans, they're a bunch of bitter bastards, right? And I think we could do a better job, and we could all have, right? Like, I mean, Ivan's well spoken. Like, I don't really want to call you AVFC for Life 1874, so I'm looking for a name and I can't find. No. What's your name, mate?
Michelangelo.
Yeah, like you going that deep, are you?
Yeah. Nah, just call me Mike. That's fine.
Yeah, man. My real name, my government name is Sam, but everybody calls me Swavey.
Right, Samuel.
Only my mum calls me Samuel, That's normally when I've popped up and done something stupid.
Now look what you've done, Samuel.
Oh no, she'll come out with the full name then. She'll drop the middle names and everything.
I don't know your middle name, so I won't.
I'm not going to drop them because otherwise that's what you're going to be calling me. And they're both horrible.
Yeah, but I get what you mean. Like, we don't have anything like that, do we? AVTV. I mean, we do have villains on tour, don't we? Villains on tour, they do their sort of thing.
No, but let's be truthful, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think 90% of the Villa YouTube channels are just absolutely boring?
To be fair, I think I've watched like a couple of them, and
I've never watched them again. I've watched a couple and never watched them again.
Yeah,
as in podcasts or just YouTube.
No, like the podcast is good. Like, when you get like Luke Robinson and like TJ and that like together and that, then that's good. But like for me, there's like the AVFC on tour, like that's just not great at all in the slightest. B6 Ben's their channel's decent.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna watch one, that's probably my go-to. Harry Batters, Like, I'm not sold on that channel either. But like, you got these like you've got multiple Arsenal YouTubers and that, and I've been in loads of their like spaces and stuff like that, and they have some right cracking conversations.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. I think like there are some good spaces on Twitter, and a few good podcasts. The YouTube stuff, maybe not so many. But to be fair,
I thought the Thai bracing spaces in the summer, they were great.
Yeah, they were really good. I was listening to a few of those.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were quite good. But yeah, I think.
And we're rubbish.
No, we're not rubbish. Speak for
So
yourself.
the thing is, right? if you put a Villa channel on like YouTube, right, that someone's got like not the average Brummy personality, like, because obviously with the way that we speak and that, a lot of us can sound really dour. But like someone with like a little bit of personality, a bit of brightness, and that, like like, have you ever watched the one from Tottenham, Expressions Oozing?
No, I ain't seen that one.
I listen to that. Like, go on to YouTube, right? Type Expressions Oozing. That lad will have you in stitches within the first 30 seconds of listening to him.
Okay, I'll have a look in a bit.
He's got a nickname for every single Tottenham player. Like, he calls Harry Kane Harry Class A. You know the rest. He's got
shit stain, more like.
I think he called Deli Ali Pelledino. Then there was the Jungmin Sonaldo. He's got like, what? He's a very witty guy, very funny. And he's gone far with this YouTube thing because of the personality that he's got. But there's so many like Villa fans, right, that have got excellent personalities that could like, come together and create something that could actually take off and not just be something that we do for a bit of entertainment and a bit of fun, but something where we can actually make a little bit of money off for ourselves, and like talking about and doing something about our love about Villa.
Is this an offer? Is it? Are you like offering?
You know what? I'm a pioneer, bro. That's what I am, yeah. And obviously, if we need to bankroll a little something, I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I think for us, I think we're still quite early days, and there is a lot of other spaces.
We're one of the oldest teams in world football. We're proper late to this table.
Yeah, we are. But I think for me, the thing is like, for me, it's kind of quite good, especially because I live in London, so us Villa fans are in a minority over here. It's quite good to just be able to talk to other people about Villa as well. My missus is a Liverpool fan, so I can't talk to her about it.
London, you're our Birmingham Aston Villa representative. Like, I mean, you've got to be going to every single person who supports their club, and you've got to be telling them about the joys of Aston Villa.
That's the one. I'm preaching all the time. So it's good just to sort of like talk to other Villa fans and sort of interact. And I'm a bit late for the Twitter party, so I kind of came to that. And now
I only joined Twitter in July.
Yeah, I only used it for work, and then I think in the last sort of like 8 months or so, I started slowly increasing my presence.
Social medias at all. I thought social medias were the death of me, especially in my younger days. Like when Facebook first came about, I could only keep a girlfriend for a week. I found out that there was more girls that lived outside of my area. So I kept our social medias, and then I joined Twitter, Instagram, and something else like during the first lockdown, and I've never looked back. I've met some fantastic people on here.
Yeah, I think it's really good as a way to sort of talk about things like football and stuff, and
it matters as well when you look at like towards the younger fans of Villa and their views on things and that, and you think to yourself, is that how I used to think at 16, 17?
Yeah, and I think it's quite good to sort of get a wide sort of perspective on things, and talking to some people, you don't look at things until you've talked to some people, and you go, actually, I didn't think of it that way. So it's been really good for me in terms of doing that.
I think that's why I enjoyed growing up, because all my brothers were into football, but we pretty much all had different teams.
Yeah.
Like I've got 12 brothers and 6 sisters. So like I come from a really big family, and every single one of them's got a different team. My sister Kaylee, that's the failure of the family. She ended up supporting Birmingham City, and I don't even know how that happened. I don't know how I let that happen, in fact.
That happened on your watch, mate.
It didn't happen on my watch. I blame my dad and my mum. It's their bad parenting.
Yeah.
As a child, I cannot be responsible for another child.
You should have had a word.
But one of my brothers is an Arsenal fan. One of my brothers is a West Bromwich Albion fan. I don't even know how I let that one slide either, to be honest. But to be honest, we only lived around the corner from the ground, so like I was brought up in Handsworth, so like West Brom was the closest ground to us. I think my first game was a West Brom game. I won't admit that though anywhere else.
Where did you live in Handsworth? Can I ask?
I lived on the road opposite Handsworth Park.
Oh yeah. I lived in Handsworth as well, by the West Brom ground.
I like more like by Apollo 2000 kind of way.
Yeah, I think when I lived there was like new houses. There wouldn't be now, obviously. It was like 30 years ago, but when I lived there was new houses like opposite the West Brom ground. You had to, there's a road opposite. You went up there. I can't remember, but it was quite a long time ago.
I've lived all over the place. I've lived in Smethwick. I'm a bit of a gypsy when it comes to like living in places. I can't really settle. But one of my favourite places that I grew up in was Hampstead. Great bar. I went to Dartmouth School as well. Kat Dealey went to Dartmouth School as well. She won't admit it though. I don't get that. Be proud of where you come from.
Yeah. Well, my claim to fame is I was in the same year as Gabby at school.
Do you know what's mad? I used to play with in a football team with Gabby's brother Michael.
Yeah, I know Michael. He's sound. He's all right. He is.
Yeah, the last time I seen him, both our children were in Birmingham Children's Hospital together at the same time.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's all right. He is, Michael. I think I prefer him than Gabby.
Because he's got Mikey's got a disabled daughter, hasn't he?
He has.
Spina bifida, I think.
Yeah, he's a nice lad. He is.
They're a nice family, actually. To be honest.
Nah, Gabby, and he's a knob.
I've got another story for you as well. Back in the day when Stan Collymore was a Villa player, he was in a bar in Sutton called Type 3, I think it was. And basically, my dad was in there drinking, and Stan Collymore was in there burning £50 notes in an ashtray, and he got sparked out by the bar manager because he said, like, you're a bellend for burning money when there's other people in the bar that are probably struggling for a couple of pounds and that. And the bar manager sparked him.
Really, yeah.
I seen Gareth Barry and Liam Ridgewell on a night out once. Liam Ridgewell's got no game with the women at all. I watched him trying for like 5 hours.
5 hours? But yeah, you should have helped him out.
Nah, I didn't want to.
Why?
He was having a poor season.
You should have helped him, give him some assistance.
Like he was having a poor season. Like if he ain't giving the Villa assistance, I can't be your wingman.
You should definitely do.
You know who I want to be a wingman for? Target, because I reckon he's got no game either.
Who?
Matty Target. I reckon he's like one of them emotional ones and that.
Nah, he's got a missus. He's the Shermanator, man.
The Shermanator.
He looks just like him.
Oh, you know what? Now you mentioned it. Oh, that's bad. That's really, really, really bad. You've officially finished Matt Target. Like, I'm glad he ain't listening because tomorrow he'd be absolutely poo.
He's probably seen. Well, I remember I said it ages ago, like when he first came to us, that he'd look like him.
Who's the worst ever Villa player, in your opinion, that you've ever seen?
Tonev, probably.
What about you, Ivan?
Maybe, but I remember like when every time Tonev had the ball, he just shot from anywhere, and it used to go like in the car park sort of thing.
Did you ever see Ali Sissoko play?
Yeah, I did. There were some times I thought he was all right.
Nah, Ali Sissoko was like the worst ever footballer I've ever seen.
Nah, I don't think he's that bad. He weren't even average, but he weren't like.
He is a player that would have made me cry because of the amount of times that I thought to myself, just do something. And then all of a sudden, like the guy's like a flapping seal just on the deck. And his hair is like everything about him just did not make sense. That's why Liverpool shifted him on, because they knew, therefore, we can't have somebody like this playing for us.
So we'll give him to Villa, yeah.
So we'll give him to Villa. At the time, I think we just lost Alan Wright and a couple of others, and we didn't have any left back whatsoever. And then I think
Alan Wright was class.
Oh, Alan Wright, one of my favourite ever left backs for Villa.
And underrated.
Very, very criminally underrated.
Yeah, definitely. For a little midget.
Who do you think was the most underrated player at Villa?
Maybe Alan Wright, maybe Mark Draper, maybe.
I'm just thinking now, I've got a couple that are springing to mind. Earl Barrett's one.
Yeah, he was.
I don't think people rated him like I rated him. Like, he was one of my favourites. I used to have his name on the back of my shirt every year and that.
Yeah, he was really good.
For the 2 seasons that he was at us anyway.
Djemba, he was class.
Oh, come on. I knew you've got to be joking.
I am not joking.
I wanted Djemba to be good. I really wanted him to be.
I mean, he last played for a team called Chattabayant. I can't even say the last team he played for.
And what country's that in? It's going to be like San Marino or something. It's going to be like San Marino Fisherman's League or something.
It's a French team.
No way.
Yeah, it must be like low leagues by the look of it.
The 13th division of French football.
Probably. I don't actually know. But I think they're French. They are French, yeah. 4th level of French football.
We should get some other people to come in and speak. Jimmy, you want to speak? He's got a thumbs up in the picture.
Is that a thumbs up to speak?
I don't know. Like, I just want to hear somebody else's opinions and stuff. We're a Villa family. I want to listen to everyone.
I don't think anyone else wants to speak.
Yes, Ivan.
Sorry, back in the room. I'm going to sign off shortly because it's 11:30 and the missus.
Who's the worst ever Villa player you've ever seen, Ivan? Who's the worst ever Villa player you've ever seen?
Let me think. Do I think Rio Coca's in there?
Oh, he was class.
Class for us.
Not every game, but like he came up in important moments sometimes. I liked it. I liked him. I like Nigel Rio-Coker.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I wasn't a massive fan. Like, I don't. To be fair, I don't think he was the worst, but he didn't do very much for us. I'm just trying to think.
Salut.
Yeah, well, you have to ask me when it's not like 11:30 or something. I'm very frazzled. I need to think because there's been some proper stinkers. Just can't think of who they are.
I went with Ali Sazan.
Macoon.
He's that bad. I don't even remember him. No, I do remember, but we're just gonna scoot past that one.
Bosco Balaban.
Don't diss Bosco. He's my mate on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many years to go through. I can't think off the top of my head who's like the worst.
Scotty Hogan.
Yeah, he's probably who's the one who got locked inside his house or something? He got locked inside his gates and couldn't get out.
When that thingy,
McCormack. Yeah, he's got to go on the list.
Yeah, he's definitely on the list.
Do you know what? Joleon Lescott.
Do you know what his greatest at the moment was getting into that crash with Jack Grealish?
Yeah. I don't know. He was just the worst that we got.
Have you watched The Overlap with Gary Neville?
No, I've not watched anything like that.
You should watch it on YouTube. Yeah, he does an interview with Roy Keane and he talks about his time at Villa and that.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's actually funny.
Yeah, it was, but that was a bad time in general. I just try not to think about those years because it was just really starting to go on the decline.
Depressing years they were.
Yeah, it was a tough sell being a Villa fan then.
Yeah, that was mental health in a nutshell.
Yeah, it was proper bad. Like from sort of living the highs of like the Martin O'Neill years. And sort of being able to stand up to like some of the bigger teams and stuff and sort of like being proper up for it to what we slipped to, it was just proper depressing, man, honestly.
But that just shows you as well that when a club's badly run, it can go bad really, really quick.
Yeah, but for us as well, it's not just it went bad. It went from bad to worse to almost going out of existence and we didn't even know it.
It just felt like it rested on the decisions to sell Milner and to sell Downing and to sell Young. He wanted to keep hold of him, didn't he?
Yeah, but I also think the other problem was O'Neill, as good as he was, he burnt through players like nobody. Like he'd buy players and then he didn't like them anymore, and they just left. He just left them to right. He wouldn't even be interested in selling.
He was like that at Leicester, though.
Yeah.
He always burned through players.
Yeah, he just we had a massive squad because there were just players who just wouldn't get games, and there was I can't remember who I was reading about recently, but
Micah Richards, he's got to go on the list as well.
Yeah.
As much as I like the man, he's got to go on the list, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice enough person, but he did nothing for us except take money out of our.
Absolute stain on the books he was.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a tough one because he's a likable person.
Really,
and I do quite like him now. But when he was on our books, man, I hated his guts. I was like, just go and leave.
I still can't stand Joleon Lescott though.
No, Lescott for me was like the worst. He brought nothing to the club whatsoever. And then that thing where he posted the picture of his new ride when the club was playing.
I wanted to go and put a fucking potato in his exhaust and that and just watch it backfire.
Yeah, and this is from a self-professed Villa fan is like, nah, mate, you don't know what you're talking about. Honestly, just the worst signing ever. Like, did nothing for us. Didn't realise he came to the club in the first place. Didn't realise when he left. That's what he brought to us. Nothing.
I've read so many of these footballers' autobiographies, and I've learnt a lot about what goes on behind the scenes in football.
Mm.
And do you know what, right? We're in the 21st century, and actually nothing shocks me anymore.
Nah, look, money talks, bullshit walks at the end of the day. Nothing surprises me. There's stuff we don't even see, like the tip of the iceberg of the stuff that goes on behind closed doors. To be honest, I don't want to see it because it just drives me mad.
That's my next career path. That is, I'm going to become a football whistleblower.
Fucking hell.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid Villa at all costs, and I'll just whistleblow on every other team.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing.
I wanted to be the guy that found Wayne Rooney, like when he had the sexual like workings with that granny.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be the man that caught him because I just wanted to be the first person to ask him the question, what made you do what you did?
I don't even think they have an answer. Like Ashley Cole taking an air rifle to fucking training and shooting the work experience. What the fuck is that about?
I remember that. Do you remember as well the Rise for Sale?
Yeah.
And he lent his Lamborghini to the Johnson crew for a music video, and he was seen flying down the motorway with a gun out, like hanging out the window and that.
Yeah, it's just look football.
But you know what? That was only the tip of the iceberg with the Rise for Sale. You know, he had that house on Roman Road in the posh area of Four Oaks.
Yeah.
Well, basically, he never lived in that house once. He hired that out to a £3,000 a night, like high class escort.
Funny games. Doesn't surprise me. In all honesty, it doesn't surprise me.
And then there's other things as well, like I couldn't believe the things that I've read. Tony Adams sniffing coke off a stripper's arse in Magaluf.
Yeah, but our MPs do it in Parliament, so who cares? It's fucked up, mate. They're all at it. There's no one who's fucking safe, honestly.
I just want to make the life of a celebrity just for 1 week. I'll just go on the wildest bender ever.
Yeah, I don't think I could cope. I know behind the scenes there's loads of stuff we don't see, and it's just not worth. It's just not worth the while getting involved in. I'm interested in the football. That's what I'm interested in. What they do behind closed doors can stay there, as far as I'm concerned. Too much of madness. Too much.
So getting back to the ball, then, who's the next one to break through into the first team at Villa?
Don't know.
Excluding Carney, excluding Jaden Philogene Bidace because he's been in and out. And Cameron Archer, in fact, as well.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see a bit more of Archer, perhaps.
You know how you was talking earlier about a backup goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Then, like, what about Sinisalo?
Which one's that?
He's the young lad at the academy. He was in goal when we played against Liverpool when we had to play with the kids.
Yeah.
He was
he's the Finnish guy. That's right.
That's the one.
Yeah, but
apparently he's very highly rated as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't. The problem is that Juan Emiliano's so good, so it's just anyone trying to get any game time is like mission impossible. Unless we get like a decent run in the cup, maybe you can put Steer or this other lad in. But outside of that,
Emmy, if he's fit, he's not going to want to sit back.
No, not at all. And
spent a long time on the sidelines, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, but the fear with that is if he gets injured, we're screwed because we ain't got somebody who's able to fill in.
Really?
Yeah, and Jed Steer hasn't really touched the ball in like 2 years in the Premier League, so
I thought it was a mad decision to let Tom Heaton go to Man U.
yes and no. Look, Tom Heaton was a certain age, and I think he didn't want to just be playing back up.
But he's playing back up there.
Huh?
He's playing back up there.
Yeah, I guess, but I think there's been changes over there, which kind of, I think with us, he knew there was no real way he'd be like he was never going to usurp Emiliano, and at Man United, maybe there's hope because there's more games, he might get more chances to play because they're playing Europe and etc. But I don't know. But yeah, I just think he was just never.
I did find it a mad decision, especially not like bringing anybody else in really to fill that slot.
Yeah, and that's my concern because our reliance when Emiliano was
like say like now, who's a realistic opportunity then that we could go for? That somebody that wouldn't mind playing the backup role. It's mad. I think that one's actually really tough.
Yeah, good question.
I mean, we could have said like last season Jack Butland, but didn't he go somewhere?
No, you know what we'd need to do? We'd need to go young and say, look, you're going to come in, and you're with a long-term view of you becoming, when Emiliano's gone, you'll be looking at being like the number one in the long term. But it means you're going to be, filling in as a deputy and playing maybe in cup games, this and that, and maybe go young so that you give Emiliano, three.
You know what? I'm trying to think, and I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but it's something
there's not that many goalkeepers or young goalkeepers in waiting that look like they could go elite. I mean, I would have said Andre Onana, but he's had too many problems with drugs and that and doping. Yeah. He would have been a great shout though, because you could have got him for a steal, I reckon.
Mm. I mean, as long as Emiliano stays fit, and we've got Jed Steer and this other Finnish lad, I can never pronounce his name, but it's not a complete disaster. But I think
I don't think you could find a goalkeeper that could match Emi Martinez anyway. I believe he's in a tier with about 3 or 4 other goalkeepers, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think you would be looking to get somebody who is at Emiliano's level. You'd be looking at someone.
I think world football right now, the only goalkeepers that I would class as better than Emi Martinez would be Oblak at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Who else? Bayern Munich's goalkeeper. Neuer. Yeah. And do you know what? As many as people say, like Edouard Mendy is not better than Martinez. Neither is Alisson. Neither is Ederson. Ederson looks the better goalkeeper because he's in a better team. But if you put it on par with Emi Martinez,